And welcome to another week of the Celebrity Creator Show. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Terrific. How are you doing?
Awesome. I am doing awesome. You know what? Just kind of catching up after our fabulous 3 days spent with Linda P. Jones at her Live Wealthy and Smart Intensive. It was fabulous. In fact, both Brian and I and our guest just got back from that. So we're just like feeling wealthy and just full of all kinds of energy and ready to go. But before we get started, I want to introduce you to my friend and business partner, Brian Kelly. Now, I'm going to look to the right, and hopefully I'm looking in the right direction. We're using a little bit different setup tonight. Okay, good. There we go. At any rate, I just want to tell everybody who is not familiar with Brian Kelly a little bit about him. Brian has been a software engineer for over 24 years. And part of that phenomenal experience lends to some of the creativity that you see while you're watching our show here. The graphics and all of the cool stuff that he does, he's absolutely amazing. The knowledge is just overflowing and creativity abounds from every corner. In addition to that, Brian is also a very avid social media guy. He's very adept at Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. As a matter of fact, recently, a Ning site that he put together, along with 50,000 some plus Twitter followers, he sold for a tidy sum. That was absolutely amazing. He took it from the ground up, and that was when Twitter wasn't cool. Brian also is a speaker and author. I'm not going to say budding anymore because, you know what, we're like just about there with that whole book thing. So the accountability factor is weighing heavy, so hopefully we can get that done soon. In addition to that, Brian co-owned a travel-based multi-level marketing company for 6.5 years. So he is very adept at many, many things. He also likes to dabble in affiliate marketing, which has also provided a tidy sum. And that's how actually we met in working with affiliate marketing and with a few multi-level marketing companies as well. So we have a lot of varied interest. But listen, I want to turn the show back over to Brian. And don't take too long talking about me here because I'm excited about getting our guest on tonight.
Oh, you've done it, Lucy. You've done it. And that was so over the top you made me thirsty. I'm telling you. I would like to introduce to you this wonderful woman named Kathy Stover. She has an absolute wealth of experience in the marketing and business world. It's over the top. I don't compare to her background. She has over 25 years, not just a measly 24, 25 years experience as an operations manager and sales manager, all this at Fortune 500 company. But wait, it gets better. Like they say, but wait, there's more. She's a highly successful social media strategist. She has recently just come on the scene and just blown up her business in a good way, where she is literally turning clients away now because of the results she is getting for her clients is going through the roof, and the word is spreading very fast. She has experience also as a professional speaker. We just saw her speak on stage just this past weekend. Way to go there. Oh, this way. High five that way. She's been an extremely successful affiliate marketer also, and I like to always affectionately call her the affiliate marketing queen because she can sell darn near anything to darn near anybody. And I mean darn near. On top of that, she has also excelled in network marketing. As she mentioned, that's one of the places we met, or the place we originally met. That's, we say, a story for another day. And she also holds designations for eBay, 2 of them that are very high: power seller and top rated seller. Look those up on Google, and you'll see that those take a lot of accountability, a lot of talent, and a lot of selling to acquire those very high designations. She's very well connected, especially since she's gotten so proficient at her social media strategy business that many of the connections we have on our show, including the one tonight, came directly from her dealings in social media, her being Kathy Stover. Now with that, I'd like to welcome my dear friend and co-creator of this very show, ta-da, Miss Kathy Stover. Yay!
You know, you crack me up. You always go way over the top, and that's why I hate going first. Next week it's your turn. But we want to talk about our special guest, and we're so excited because Brian, you had the opportunity to meet Lori face to face this past weekend, so that was absolutely phenomenal because she is absolutely phenomenal, and we adore her. But we want to tell you a little bit about her. Lori is the creator of the It Factor formula. Lori is a savvy businesswoman, a gifted healer, and a uniquely talented artist. She's been called a multi-talented muse with an irrepressible spirit, and boy, we can sure attest to that. After success in sales, marketing, and advertising, experience as founder and managing partner in a medical technology startup, and over 16 years in acupuncture, neuropathic medicine, and nutrition, boy, that's a mouthful. Lori is self-discovery and transformation in business. Lori delights helping others discover, activate, and profit. Gosh, I gotta put my glasses on. I'm sorry. It's like all of a sudden my eyes just went. Lori delights in helping others discover, activate, and profit from theirs. Her diverse background and insatiable curiosity, boy, I'm butchering this, compassion, and incredible energy make her the perfect guide to empower those who are ready to embark upon creating a business as an ultimate and brilliant adventure. I would like to welcome our fabulous guest tonight, Lori Grayson. Lori, sorry that I butchered that up there.
That was great. I love that.
How are you tonight, Lori?
Excellent. I'm very good. I'm going to turn my sound up a bit.
Well, apologize to the viewers. We had Lori's video right up until the introduction part. Oh, and there she came back. Yes. There she is live for our viewing audience. Say hello to the crowd.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Panic at the beginning there.
Yes, we have fun.
Panic with that Skype issue.
It's never a dull moment.
As far as your bio goes, we kind of like condensed it down a little bit, and there was a line missing in there. So it was like when I got to that part, it was the rest of the line was gone. So sorry about that.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
All right. Well, Lori, we met you in person. We've met you on the phone prior to that, but this past weekend, you are such an energetic and wonderful person. Just like this, I don't know, bundle of energy. I love it. And always happy and always having a good time at all times. You're dancing everywhere you go. And I was really excited for this show. I know that you created something called the It Factor, and I got to tell you, you are it. All right, just start with that. But
why, thank you.
I'm curious, though. You've branched out on something a little bit newer that's going to complement what you've already began, as we spoke of earlier, and we can fill the audience in on all that. But I'm curious what that second part is. What exactly is the Results Are Better program?
Oh, results are better. Thanks for asking. And thanks so much for having me. This is wonderful. I'm trying to think of, Kathy, where did we first meet? Did we meet where did we meet?
We met at Sheree McConnell's event last year.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, and we've been talking, like Brian said, we've been talking on social media before that. So It's amazing.
Yeah, I love how that works.
It's fun. It's really, really fun. And it was so great to meet Brian in person this weekend. And that was such a wonderful event that Linda did. It was any of you out there are interested, it was, Linda P. Jones. Wow. Great stuff. So, good times. Results are better. Yeah. I've had my company for a while, and one of the things that I noticed that myself and a lot of our friends who have been sort of entrepreneurs going through this journey right together, one of the things we found was that the issues that we had to do a lot with implementation. Like, we knew a lot about the what and the why, but the how really sort of stumps a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as an entrepreneur, that's really the most important thing. I mean, it's all about moving forward, being able to finish projects. And as you know, as entrepreneurs, most of us are big idea people, but we're not really great finishers. We're really good starters, but not great finishers. And so that's what Results Are Better is all about. It's a program where what we basically do is bring someone in and we work with them one-on-one to take them through a series of steps. It's about 120 days, and we take them first into their purpose, because the purpose is incredibly important for an entrepreneur, right? If you don't have that going on, and I know we're going to talk about this probably a little bit later, but if you don't have that going on and you don't know why you're in it, it's very, very difficult to move forward and do what you really need to do, right? So we take them on sort of a deep adventure into that, and that takes a good month typically. It's about a month of time that people really need to really get focused, really understand who they are in the process, and be ready to take the next steps. And what happens with a lot of people is they have this great business idea and they sort of jump into it because it's wonderful. But, there are a lot of other things that they really need to have solid, like a very, very solid foundation before they move forward. So Results Are Better starts there. And then we go about building the business around the business, which is the implementation, the nuts and bolts. That's where a lot of people really get sidetracked, shall we say.
Well, it's really exciting because we spent a great bit of time talking about this new business model, and it's exciting from the point that, and you and I, as you'll recall, talked about. It's so different from the norm of keep pulling you along, waiting for the wizard behind the magic door, because you're actually going to share and show them the magic door right up front, right?
Yeah.
So the whole, I can't wait to get into the, farther into the show. I'm so excited about it because it is such a different business model. It is so built with character and integrity. Not that there's not a lot of businesses that are built on character and integrity out there. That's not what I'm saying, but I can say that this definitely is built in that way. So one thing that you had just mentioned was that you start with purpose and you build the business around the business, right? Mm-hmm. So in your experience in working with entrepreneurs, how does a lack of clarity around purpose impact, can it impact their business success?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the first thing that we have to think about is, what is a successful business? Right? What really is that? And a lot of people will say, well, it's just about profit. It's all about profit. And it's true. We're in business to profit. We're in business to make a living. We're in business to help people. But really, a successful business looks like this. You have a service or a product that people need. You have a price point that they're willing to pay. And then you basically have a delivery system that can create consistent outcomes. And if you have all that going on, and you can make a profit too, then there's success, right? But that takes a lot. It seems so simple, right? But it really takes a lot. It takes focus, it takes commitment, and it also takes action. So you really have to, as an entrepreneur, show up, and you really have to be clear about exactly what you're doing. And that can be troublesome. So what happens when people have a lack, excuse me, I'm just moving around here. When people have a lack of purpose, first of all, what happens is they really don't have the energy that they need. We were talking earlier about energy. And it's not so much the time issue. It's really more of the energy to put into the work that they have to do, right? So what happens is they don't have the energy to put into it. So they don't really have the focus that they need. And so that makes it so that they're a little bit unclear about what they should be doing. And they end up doing a lot of work, and you've seen this, right? People are so busy, so busy, so busy, but they're not really accomplishing that much, and they're wondering why they're spinning in circles. And then, because of that, their businesses are not really moving. They're not able to implement the way they need to, right? So they're not making enough money, and then they become demoralized. I mean, it's just this, you've seen it. It's the swirling around the drain when people have wonderful things to share, but they don't have that purpose. If they're not really focused, if they're not really passionate about it, they're not going to have what they need to really bring it all to the table. And it's so unfortunate, and we see it all the time.
It's amazing. You just gave me one of those aha moments right there, Lori, when you basically said in a nutshell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your level of energy is actually more important than the amount of time that you have, or the excuse that you make for the time. Yeah. And
yeah.
I've never thought of it that way.
It's the way we like to think of it, and it's the way I always have, just because energy is such an important thing to me. As we were talking earlier, I used to practice Chinese medicine, and it's all about energy. It's all about energy. And, we talk about time management, but there's really no way for us to manage time. Time just does what it does. So it's really all about how can we optimize our time, how can we optimize our energy so that we can use it in a way that we're as focused, as creative, and as productive as we can be. So absolutely, what happens, it's really so sad, because you see these people are so excited, but the foundation is not quite there. It's not quite solid enough. And then they get to this point where they just feel trapped in, like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. Nothing's working, It's a bummer.
So now, is this going to be part of the structure and the platform that you've put together that will walk them through that part of it so that they can have a better grasp or idea of what their purpose is and how to channel that into the right avenues?
Absolutely. One of the things we have that is really remarkable is my collaborative partner, Megan. Has been doing this for a long time, and one of the things that she found was that she'd been working with entrepreneurs, and she kept running into people having issues with this, and she started painting. And one of the things that she realized was great about painting was that you've got this blank canvas, right? And so you can make anything you want on that blank canvas, and if you start something and it doesn't really work out, you just sort of gesso over it and you can start again. But it's this idea that you've got this big, expansive place that you can really live into. Because what we find a lot of times is when we start to work with people, and it's really surprising, but you ask them questions like, well, how much money do you want to make? And, where do you want to be living? And what do you really see this, what's going to be happening in 3 years? Things like that. That seem like pretty basic questions. And the fascinating thing is a lot of times they'll just say, oh, I don't know. I just want to build a business. I just want to make, $100,000. And they don't have an idea around that, right? They have no answers. So Megan realized that they need a tool to create their own blank canvas. So what she did is she created this 40-page workbook. And it takes them through everything. So not just about their personal life, right? Not just about their business life, but everything that goes around it. So really digging deep into uncovering like their personal vision, their business vision, their mission, their purpose. It just gets everything together so you can see, okay, this is where I really want to go. It's great to say I want to make 100,000 or I want to make $1 million, but why? And who do you want to be with? What do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to live? Who do you want to talk to every day? What are the clients? And once you have that, it really helps you to fill out, your life and your plan.
That's great stuff.
Yeah, so blank canvas is great. It's really, it's wonderful. What happens is, there are about 2 simple questions that you can ask. See if people are really on purpose, because it's all about, making money, right? And typically people are making enough money. There are just a few things that are going on. Either their business model doesn't really support what they're doing, or they're not really that passionate about what they're doing, or both. So we definitely want to look into that, right? And then you also have to look at your life. is this business going to serve you? Is this something that you're just working on all the time and it's sort of you've become a slave to it? Or is this really something that you love and you want to do? And those two are really on purpose. They're really on, well, if you're on purpose, then you are on purpose. But those are the very, very important and pretty easy ways to look at it. So if someone gets the blank canvas exercise, that's amazing. If they want to do work on their own and just sort of sit down and go through all those things and see, okay, where do I really want to be? But really be serious about it. Because one thing I find is a lot of people that I talk to say, well, I've got it in my mind. I know what it is. I say, well, have you written it down? Well, no. I don't really need to write it down. I'm like, yeah, you do. If you can't write it down, there's something that's not right. So we really work at that. We want to be on purpose. We want to have the right systems. Because otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable. Like, you can build it, right? But it's not going to be sustainable, and it's not going to make you happy. So, sorry, I'm ranting.
Oh, no problem.
No, that's great. Lots of great information.
Yes.
Thank you.
So once you've established their purpose, and that's probably something that can be redefined and added to and modified and tweaked over a period of time, I'm guessing, then
Absolutely.
I would assume you go into, say, the structure of the business and get down to the nuts and bolts potentially. Is that accurate? Does that come up pretty quickly after the purpose? And
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what would be the first thing an entrepreneur can do, and perhaps with your help, to review their business structure and whether it's actually working for them?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's a bit twofold. So I'll start the second half of it. So basically, one of the things you have to look at. So a lot of people who come to us are brand new, but a lot of them already have businesses, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to look at where the gaps are. You've got to be able to look at your situation. You've got to be able to see exactly where you are right now and be brutally honest. And that's always a tough one, right? Because we don't always want to see what's happening in our business. A lot of people don't have financials. They don't have, you've seen this, right? They don't have anything. They're running things, but it's not going anywhere. So first of all, just getting really brutally honest with where you are, going through the numbers, going through the offerings, going through everything, and getting to see exactly what the structure is. You need to know exactly what's going on with your time, what's going on with your business model, and that's sort of your first step. Because once you've got that, you can be much more clear. And then what you do is you got to really dig deep to figure out what's working and what's not. And that's something that can be a real struggle because we're always so close to our own business, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's wonderful to have other people to sort of help you to say, okay, I know you love this, but have you ever thought of that? That's one thing that has been so helpful for me. When I was practicing medicine, I didn't have a mentor until about 4 years into my practice. And it was such a revelation to me that, you can learn, who knew? You can learn so much from other people, right? And to have the support. I know it sounds silly, but it's something, and especially, entrepreneurs, typically very creative, very bright, self-starters, people who are out there making things happen. That's why we do what we do, right? Because we can sort of, a lot of us, most of us, you can do a lot of things. You can do everything, and you sort of feel like you should be able to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But we just can't. We just can't.
Right.
We do need that. So it's about going deep, figuring out what's working and what isn't. And I'm like, this is so funny doing it this way. My eyes keep darting all over because I'm looking at both of you. And sorry about that.
Oh, you're doing fine. You're doing
so
great.
So once you get that going, then what you really have to do is align it with where you actually want to go. And that's why it's so important to have that purpose and that, okay, what do I want my life to look like piece? Because without doing that, you're in trouble. So what you're going to want to do is say, okay, say you want to make $100,000 a year, and right now you're making 40. That's a big gap. You've got to fill that. Right now you're seeing 5 clients a day, and you want to see 20. Big gap. So you've just got to look and see where all those gaps are. And once you have that, you really get what's going on, then you can start to move forward. And you were asking, is that part of the program? Absolutely. What happens after we get into the purpose, we immediately start going into, okay, the branding and the marketing. And what is different, Kathy and I were talking about this with what we're doing, is that instead of just sort of having someone come to us and say, okay, so now there's your statement, go do something with it, right? We're actually taking people by the hand and helping them implement. So when we sit down and do a marketing plan, we're actually sitting down together and doing it. Well, on the phone typically, sometimes in person, but sitting down and going through it step by step. And if people need people to write copy, we have great copywriters, right? And that'll be part of the programs so that, they can do it on their own, or they can have someone that we really like do it for them. And that just makes it so much easier, and it makes it so much quicker. Because the problem is, a lot of us don't want to, especially when we're starting, we don't want to hire out. Like, we feel like, well, I should be able to do this all by myself. And we can, but the problem is we spend so much time and money, eventually spinning our wheels trying to get things done that we really aren't that good at. It's like, yeah, we can do it, but just because we can do it doesn't mean we should.
Exactly.
And it takes us so long to get to market that we actually lose tens of thousands of dollars just trying to save ourselves some money. So every step of the way, we're going to be doing things. So they're deliverables. So instead of just having people sort of DIY, we're going to step them through it. A business plan, a marketing plan, a social media plan. By the time they finish the program, they'll have all those things. They'll have it in a book. They'll be ready to launch. And I just love that. The reason we put it together was because it's what I never had, and it's what Megan never had. And that's why she originally started putting programs like this together. She's been launching businesses for 10 years, hundreds of them. So
excellent. It's an excellent.
Different.
Yeah, it's different because there's nothing else out there like it. That's what's different. The pieces are out there, but the pieces are not brought together in the platform that you two ladies have put it together. I'm really excited for you. It's absolutely phenomenal. Something that you touched on a few minutes ago, and I can attest to it, working with Brian and having a partner in a business, because of the fact that we have overlapping knowledge on several things, but we have very, very varied backgrounds and differences as well that complements and fills in those gaps for us. But with that being said, it is important, and Brian and I have enlisted the help of mentors and people that have knowledge outside of what our scope and range is, that has definitely helped in some of the different programs and situations that we found ourselves in from time to time. But agree so wholeheartedly that it is important to have somebody to be able to, or other people, to encompass and embrace some of the things that are beyond what our abilities, what we have for abilities. So that's really exciting.
The thing that I like a lot about this is that, one of the problems that we typically have is we are holding so many balls and we're throwing so many things around, and it's not easy to get your arms around everything. And so there's this idea of project management, and most of the people that I work with are not really familiar with it. There's this, I've got my list, right? Well, I've got my list of all my things. Well, where's your overall plan? Where's your project management? And, this is something that I actually ran into in medicine too, is that I had all these patients who had all these different doctors. None of the doctors were talking to each other, and I actually ended up being the project manager in a way, like I was a case manager. So I say, okay, this person has talked to this person. And I realized that's a lot of what we'll be doing for people is, not only holding their hands, but we're the ones who are holding, it sounds sort of goofy, but holding the space. But it's really about being the project manager. It's about being the one who says, okay, this is what's next. This is where we're going, holding people accountable so that they don't have to do it, because you just can't do everything. You just can't.
Well, something that I was just talking about, Brian and I being partners, we do have gaps in our business, and because of our varied background and knowledge, we're able to spot some of those. But with that being said, we enlist and incorporate other individuals to take a look at what we're doing to help in those situations. What simple ways could you share that would help people stop the gaps in their business?
Okay, it's a good question. It's a really good question. And the answer is going to sound really simplistic because in a way it is, and it's because it's simple, it's not easy, and it's what we don't want to do, right? Basically, what you're doing is looking at what we talked about earlier, like how to figure out where the issues are, right? So we've got the issues, we know what we're doing, and then systematically we have to look at it. We have to look at, okay, is this a system delivery problem? Is it a marketing problem? Is this an issue with our foundational business building blocks? Like where are the gaps? And what is it exactly that we need to do to tweak or change or refine them so we can actually close those gaps? And that it doesn't take as much like historical experience as you would think, because once you can really see them, you can see all the things that you can do in between, right? So it's about actually determining those action steps systematically, writing them down, making a plan. And the plan is very important. Again, that's why the project management is such an issue, right? So you create your action plan. So you've got to look at, okay, when do these things have to be done? How are they going to be done? Mm-hmm. And most importantly, what skills are going to be needed to help you do these things? And again, like we were talking about before, we can't do everything ourselves. What we really need to do is we need to be able to determine who we need on our team and how much do we need to pay them? What roles are they going to play? Can they do dual duty? What's going on with that? Because that's the thing that really helps us to move forward. It's all about being able to fulfill on our commitments, right? As long as we have a project and we just keep stepping and stepping and stepping along the way, that's what builds a business. But when we don't really have a plan, we don't have our action steps, we don't have our plan, we don't know the when, the how, the why, the who, it's troublesome. So it's really, it's as simple as that, and it's as difficult as that. And I guess the difficult thing is just that for some reason we don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's like work.
It's funny. I'm not quite sure why, but do you find that?
Well, you know what I'm thinking? It's like if it's the passionate, creative part of what we want to do that gets us doing whatever it is that we're doing, then it's great. Everything rolls and flows until we hit the wall and say, oh, I don't quite know how to do that, or it seems really difficult. We hit a roadblock, and then it starts feeling like work. And so
Absolutely.
I think that it kind of, and I'll speak for myself, but I know sometimes just in our business, when I get to some of those places, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the creativity starts squashing down a little bit, and it almost becomes like drudgery. So the excitement there is either getting to a financial place where you can hire somebody to do that, right? Or something comes along, a tool or a process that makes that part of the thing that you're not really passionate and excited about doing easier to kind of bite and swallow.
Little less painful.
Absolutely. Yeah, not as painful. Exactly, because most of us did not get into our businesses to be in business. We did, but we didn't. Most of us didn't know what we were getting into when we did, right? When I started a medical practice in the other company, I sort of knew, but you don't really think about all the nuts and bolts. You do it because you're passionate about what you do. And typically, especially in, sort of the milieu that we move in, these people are passionate, they're heart-centered, they want to make a difference in the world, and they're not always so nuts and boltsy, right? They just want to do the work that they want to do and go out and do it. And it's such a shame to see them get so shut down by all this, the nuts and bolts. And that's why I'm so excited about this. And it's funny because I'm not the nuts and bolts person, but I've sort of got the left and the right brain thing going, and I know that it's so important, and I know it's where I've fallen down. So to be able to offer that, it's just like, yay. I was going to tell you something else that I was excited about, but I can't remember what it is.
It'll come back around. But in the meantime, this whole program is set up to grab somebody who has passion, and if they're not sure of their purpose, you're going to help them work through that phase.
Yeah.
But it's going to be start to finish 120 days. Brian, doesn't that blow you away?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's the fast track. I love it. And, it's like you and Megan are like entrepreneurial pain relievers. I love it. It's like you could get your own little aspirin bottle and put a logo of yourselves on there. Because
that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea, because that's what we're doing. We're relieving the pain of building the business. I mean,
it makes such a huge difference to have somebody take you by the hand, as you put it, and take you step by step, because it can be daunting, and that could be the reason you don't go forward too, because what do I do next? What you provide is manyfold as far as helping people get past so many hurdles that, typical people that do it on their own would take so much longer to get past.
Absolutely. And I see, friends that I've been working with, and it's just, they'll look at me and they'll say, why do I have to do everything? Like, how am I ever going to get this done? And I don't know, who was I talking to? I was talking to someone at a networking group, and I was telling them about this, and they said, yeah, why do we have to do everything? And I can't, she said something like, if I had $1 for everyone who told me that if they would just have someone else help them with it or take them by the hand and do it, it'd be good. I said, good, because that's what we're doing. Yeah, the taking people by the hand. And I think there's something about, as entrepreneurs, we're also very independent, right? And we're like, okay, we can do this. I got to figure it out. But I see people taking, the SEO class and the website class and this and that, and they're spending tens and thousands of dollars, and it's nothing that they even really want to do, but they figure, well, it's better than me trusting someone else to do my own thing. And it's just, you just have to really find the right people. You've got to find the right people to help you. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. There's this idea when you first start out, if you don't have enough money and you feel like, well, how can I hire anyone? What am I going to do? And I know that a lot of people say you shouldn't barter because it's like a wealth consciousness thing. But there are plenty of people who are moving up the ladder just like you are that are happy to help you, and you can work with them. And they're everywhere, right? And one of the things that one of my mentors, Suzanne Evans, told us, she always said, don't barter. But she said, if you want to do something like that, what you do is you decide upon the amount that you're going to pay each other, and you basically give each other a check, and it cancels out in the mail, right? Because you're just giving each other a check. But the whole idea is to keep the money circulating and keep everything moving, and not be, holding everything in. And I thought that was brilliant. I love that. I've done that with people, and it's, when I tell some of my clients about that, they get so excited. Like, oh, well, I never thought about that. That's fun.
That's a cool idea. Very cool.
Somebody was actually talking to me about that today and saying, if you do not keep the energy of money flowing in that way, just today, that it's not good, because it stops the flow. So it sounds like that's what she was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were all up in arms. Excuse me?
I said that was very interesting, because I was talking to somebody today that said something very similar.
It's in the air.
It must be.
Hey, for those watching tonight, we don't want to forget, we're going to play a little, not Where's Waldo, that book, but we're going to play Where's Lori? And we're going to put up a picture on the screen here that looks just like her when she's not moving. Find that picture. Don't do it right now, but what you want to do later is click right on the nose, right on her nose on that picture, and that will take you to her Facebook account. So be sure to hook up with her there and get to know Lori. She is a gem of an individual. We met her again in person. She truly desires to have a business that helps others, truly. So that's why it says results are better, because their desire is to get results for you. So be sure to connect with her. Click right on her nose. She has some awesome stuff coming up that we aren't showing you right now. We're keeping it a secret, and you can only find out directly from her. So connect with her on Facebook and say, what's the secret you guys talked about on Celebrity Creators? And then she may or may not reveal it to you, but I'll leave that up to her. But be sure to do that.
You're so sly, Brian. So sly.
All right, moving right along. We talked about simple ways to identify gaps. Now that we've identified them, do you have some tips possibly to closing the gaps so that we can really get what we want?
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, as we spoke earlier, it's really, really important to be able to determine the steps and determine the action plan. So that's the biggest thing. is just to go back to what we spoke about before. Is like, okay, is it an issue of delivery? Is it an issue of marketing? Is it a foundational business thing? What do we need to change? How do we create this action plan? When are we going to implement it? What needs to be done when? How does it need to be done? And who do we need to be on our team to help us move through it? So that's the biggest gap closing. You know, just call me. I'll tell you. Just tell me what this is what you need to do.
There you go. There's the tip. Truly.
That's it.
Get with Lori and Megan.
Exactly. Just give us a call. We're really nice.
Yes, you are.
And the thing about it is, there's a lot of people out there that do not realize that they need a service like this. You know, I think that oftentimes when people first start in an entrepreneurial business working from home, you know, they've lost their job or they've chosen to leave their job and they're entrepreneurial and they have a whole idea and concept of what it is that they want to do. They really don't realize what steps it takes to get to where they need to go. And we know because, and all three of us have been to a lot of events, and Brian and I love events. We think it's very important. There's a lot of very good events. There's a lot of events that aren't so good. But oftentimes when people first start out, they get pulled in and they start down the path, not only of spending a lot of money, and oftentimes it's throwing good money after bad, and their passion and their purpose that they set out with is so diminished over time because of being beaten down and heartache and spending so much money. So I'm really excited again about what you and Megan have put together for that reason. It's very important for you guys to get the word out there because you're going to be so transparent with people. You're going to be upfront and again, as I said earlier, it's put together with character and integrity with both of you, that for people that are just starting, and even those that may be on the path and have kind of, you know, been bruised along the way, what you offer is such a phenomenal piece to some of the puzzle that they're trying to put together right now, that it's actually going to lend to their success and a lot quicker. I mean, 120 days, again, you know, I'm being redundant, but to have what you two gals have put together and for them to walk out with and be able to continue on their path to success is absolutely phenomenal.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, as I said, it was one of those things that, you know, Megan started doing it originally because when she was starting her business, she found that she was looking for a one-stop shop, right? She wanted someone that could take her through the whole process, to be like a partner, to get in the trenches, to roll up their sleeves and work with you. And it's just something that we just don't find as much anymore. And what we find is, you know, there are all these great programs, but as we talked earlier, it's sort of like, okay, and here's the wizard, right? And there's always more for you to invest in, and there always is, and that's wonderful. But sometimes you just really need that foundation. And, you know, I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, wow, you know, if I would have known what I know now, I never would have invested in X, Y, or Z. And it's not to say that it wasn't a good program. It's just not always what we need at the time.
Right.
And, you know, we need the stuff that isn't all that sexy sometimes. I mean, the truth of the matter is, this is not, I mean, what's exciting about it is that there are results, right? And that by the end of 120 days, you'll actually have a launchable business. And that's like, what's better than that? But it's not big, sexy, exciting balloons and fireworks, you know, that we get with a lot of other things. And so, yeah, it's a fascinating place to be. I'm excited about it, and I think it's going to be really good. I mean, what's happening with us is the way we're doing it. Of course, we are not going to be able to take very many people through it because it is going to be hands-on and one-on-one. So as far as, you know, and it's an interesting thing. to think about that and how, how that's going to work for people. And I think that, we are going to have group courses where people will be able to do some a la carte as things go on. But in the beginning, we really just want to work people one-on-one, and we'll always be doing that. So we have a lot of plans, for how to expand it. But yeah, so.
Well, what's interesting? You and I have talked a lot about the program, particularly over the past few weeks, and I never asked you what possessed you to co-create the Results Are Better business with Megan.
Oh, well, I met Megan last year, about a year ago, through Michael Port. And I'd known Michael for a long time, and I knew that, he did great work. And she had worked with him for a long time. And I just loved her. She's very no nonsense. She's very creative. We're similar in a way, but we're very different in a way. She's much more, I don't know how to explain it, but she's just way more process oriented than I am. I mean, I'm process oriented from medicine, but she's much more get it done. And I'm sort of more like, I'm the purpose person, right? But we were talking about it, and we were discussing what's going on in the industry, and I was saying, this is what I would have liked to have had, and she was saying, yeah, this is why I did this, and she's been working with me with the It Factor work, and she said, wait a minute, this is brilliant. Why don't we just put the two together? It gives people everything they need. So it gives them the foundational, and it gives them the business around the business. So it takes people, from like, as we said, from concept to cash flow. And if we can get it done in 120 days, and to her, 120 days is not an issue at all. She says she can actually get someone through this process in about 90.
Wow.
But that takes someone who's really focused and really committed, and that's all they're doing. And a lot of people are not going to have that. But we're going to be talking to people at least twice a week. And, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. So I know when we say 120, it sounds like, wow, that's so quick. But if you really focus on something and you're committed to the results, 120 days is a lot of time. Yeah.
That's true.
But it goes by so fast.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
Now we've talked about purpose, and establishing a purpose, and then we move into establishing the structure, who does what and when, and prioritizing that kind of thing with a project manager type attitude. If you have a partner, you can delegate that as well. But when it comes down to it, to brass tacks, you need to actually now implement what you have come up with, correct? So how would how does the first time out, someone's going to mess something up invariably. Card carrying member of messing up implementation of a business. But how does the lack of implementation actually impact a business's ability to move forward?
Okay. So implementation, really, after purpose, it's the key. It's the key to everything. It's all about being able to move forward, right? So, and this is the critical thing that most entrepreneurs have a hard time with, is we continue to say we're great starters, we have great ideas, we're moving along the road, but when it comes to really carrying through and finishing things, it's not always our forte. And so, we always want to encourage people, no matter where they are, what they're doing, is to get the help that they need, because you cannot possibly, as the president of your company, the CEO of your company, your job really is to create, right? And it's to go out and find business opportunities, it's to deliver the services, and it's to be with your people. It is not your job to be doing all the back end stuff. You can't do everything well, right? This one. So that's what we're really looking at. So if you can't, best laid plans, right? But if you're not implementing, nothing's going anywhere. Nothing's going anywhere. And this is where everyone gets stuck. So it's like, okay, well, you're going to go and do your telesummit now. Okay. How do I do that, right? So then you're out and you're finding someone to hire to do it, and there's some great people out there, and that's wonderful. But when it comes right down to it, it's the step-by-step every day, having your project plan so that you know where you're going. And I was always horrible at that, really. now I've got my little plan and I know what to do, and I can't tell you how much that helps me. No, seriously, psychologically it helps me, because you know how you are, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, I've got 10 gabillion things to do. Which one do I choose? How do I start? How do I know? And then there are all these contingencies, right? So I've got to do this, but well, if I do this, that means I've got to have that. And if I have to have that, I have to call that person. So really, so much of this implementation is about planning. It's about taking the tasks apart. So people will have things on their to-do list when they come to us, and they'll be like, make a website, write marketing copy. It's like, well, making a website is like a million tasks. Where do you start? How do you do that? So you have to break it apart and make it simple. So, like they say, if you want to eat an elephant, you do it one bite at a time. I think we talked about that this weekend, right? And that's just it, because we tend to get overwhelmed, right? We tend to get overwhelmed. So if we have people to help us with implementation with it.
So let me ask you this.
And I think that I was just going to say that as entrepreneurs, most of us have that shiny object syndrome. So
absolutely,
for most of us to have a structured something set up for us to go by to help us stay focused on what it is that we have to do when we don't feel like doing it is a must. Is a must. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Well, darn.
I tried to eat the elephant whole.
There you go.
Yeah, I always have to. It doesn't go down very well.
You know, I was going to say, as we've talked about, and we all know there's lots of programs out there, right? I mean, we've seen them. We've seen good ones. We've seen bad ones. I think that Brian and I would both agree that we have not seen one that is put together like yours. But what makes the results are better, different from everything else that's out there?
Well, you know, I think several things. I mean, first is that it's really going to be a one-stop shop for people. One of the things when I, started these businesses that was difficult was that I couldn't find the people. I mean, it's a whole ordeal just trying to find your vendors, right? Find a web person that you like, find a copywriter that you like, find someone that is going to do a good job for a good price, deliver on time. And we thought, well, wouldn't it be great if people could come and they could have that, right? If we could actually vet everyone and say, look, you can work with these people and see how it goes. You'll probably like them. They'll probably give you what you need. And they can work with someone else too. But the way the program is set up, it's set up to be a one-stop shop. So part of their program is going to be a certain number of hours with the web person, a certain number of hours with, the QuickBooks setup person. I mean, it's all going to be one stop. And people don't have to use the people that we have. They may want to do it themselves. We don't really recommend it, but we thought that would be a really good thing to make it simple and to make it so that they knew who they could trust and they knew that they would get something. Because if people are working with us, we're going to make darn sure that they're going to deliver, right? They're going to have to. So that's important. Another thing is just the implementation piece. That seems to be one thing that's really missing, and I know why. I mean, this is an interesting thing. I mean, the reason that it is missing is that it's a lot of work. It's not as scalable in that way, right? It's not, as far as like being a business model, it's not as scalable. But we have other ways of doing that eventually. What we want to do is we really want to get out there, do great work, really help people so they get something out of it, because it sort of seems sometimes like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and we just don't want people to do that. We just don't want that to be what people experience. The whole thing about acting as project managers, actually setting everything up in Basecamp or one of those things for people so that they know. Yeah, it's a lot of the difference is that we're actually going to be really holding their hands. We're going to be really implementing with them and walking them through it. So they've got everything. And they also, you're talking earlier about being transparent. We're going to actually tell them exactly what they're going to have when they finish the program. It's like, you will have a written marketing plan, you will have a written business plan, you will have, your QuickBooks set up, you will have your website, you will have. So it won't be like, well, it's sort of amorphous,
What am I
and we'll
getting?
see what happens. Good luck to you. And that seems better to me. It's fascinating to me, and there's a lot of stuff going on out there in the industry, but it's fascinating to me that we will buy things for tens of thousands of dollars without even knowing what we're really getting, without the tangibles. It's like, well, you're going to be coaching this many times, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong at all. But it is fascinating where if you're going to buy a car, you want to know if it has air conditioning, you want to know what color it is, when you take it off the lot, right? And so I think that's important. I think it's really important people to know exactly what they're getting, and then for that to be delivered. I mean, this is one thing that I'm really proud of with what we're doing. I'm excited, like you can tell.
It shows.
But,
you definitely have the passion.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to have the team that can help them, but we're actually going to help them choose their team too. So going forward, they'll have they'll know, like, okay, we need to work with these people. So
very complete and very thorough. I love it.
Awesome. That's like we said earlier, that's what every entrepreneur, whether they be new into the marketplace or people that are struggling and have been out there trying different things. Well, I got to tell you something. It was, Lori, if you can believe this, our hour has already gone by. And
it went fast.
It's absolutely crazy because every week it seems like, boom, it just flies. And I just want to tell you, I am so thankful that I met you at Shereen McConnell's event, and I'm even more thankful that you had the opportunity to meet Brian this past weekend as well.
Absolutely.
And then we get to share some time together. But particularly for you to come on and share this fabulous new business platform that you and Megan have put together that's going to help so many people. It's just so well thought. It's going to help a tremendous amount of entrepreneurs, again, whether they're coming in or they're already in business right now.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell you, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for spending your time with us. I'm so glad that we were able to put this together. So
thank you
to you, and I'm going to pass it back over to Brian.
And I just have nothing left to say. Every time you do that, it's awesome. You like completely cover everything, Kathy. It's Lori, you are just a sweet person. We love you dearly. You lit up our stage tonight with your energy and your wonderful passion for your business. We can't thank you enough
Luckily, we got on the air today.
We can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Brian is like a software engineer and all those other things that I told you, and a magician.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to thank you too. This has been, meeting you, Kathy, was such a gift to me. And now knowing Brian, and what an amazing pair you are. It was so fun to spend the time this weekend. And I love what you're doing. And you're so genuine and so giving and so caring. And, you don't always find that. And it's really good. I love this show. It's so fun. I told everyone, okay, you got to see these people. They're so great. So.
Well, thank you so much.
There's one thing
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to talk about the blank canvas. Did you get my note about that?
I don't know, but go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say, remember I talked about that blank canvas exercise, that 40-page, really cool, help you figure everything out canvas. And what we wanted to do, Megan and I thought that for any of your viewers, we would like to gift that to them.
Wow.
And we would, because it's a great thing to do, right? It's
I didn't see that.
You didn't? Oh, no. Yeah. So what we want to do is, and they can go, not to our site because it's actually not up yet because we haven't launched yet, but they can send me an email, Lori@LoriGrayson.com, and that's LORI@LORIGRAYSON.com, and just write blank canvas in the subject line. And what we'll do is we'll send it out to them, and then we'll also give them a 20-minute focus session so we could sort of discuss it. We just thought that would be a nice gift to give them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You're welcome. And you guys can do one too. Not that you need one, but might be fun.
Well, hey, Brian and I are collectors of great information.
Well, I think it's one of those things that you can do. I mean, I actually think people should do something like that every year so they can really revisit their goals, see what they're doing, see what they want, because things change,
Yeah.
Our businesses change, our life change, and we really want to stay on track. So whether it's a new business or an old business.
I love it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
offering that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Well, we want to thank also the audience for watching. We appreciate your time as well
Thank
as,
you, audience.
especially as well as
Thanks for
Lori's.
coming.
And Kathy, very nice. Another awesome show, my friend. We are going to say good night for now, and we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. We're taking the 4th of July Tuesday, which is the 5th, but we're taking that. We're going to a little R&R. We've been hitting it pretty hard. We're going to have some fun
Nice.
now. And
By the way, show number 70. Today,
yes,
right?
this is show number 70.
Show
Gloria
number
is show
70.
number 70.
Show number 70.
Show number 70.
What a great way to
Yes.
stop and take a break.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much
Thank
once
you.
again.
Thank you.
We'll see you all again in 2 weeks.
you.
Alrighty, bye-bye now.
Over
Good
and
night.
out. Good night.